Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Hello Redlow. I'm your host, Terry Mullen, and I'm so happy you're here today. I have an awesome episode ahead because I'm going to talk about my book, Step Forward, How to Navigate Midlife Transitions, Overcome Hard Things, and Rediscover Yourself. For those of you that don't know, I just wrote and published my first book at age 59, and I'm so proud of that. And today we're going to talk about why I wrote this book, why I wrote it at age 59, and who it's for. It's available for you on Amazon. You can just click on the link here in the show notes or go to the Instagram page for Hello Redlow and click on the link there. It'll take you right to Amazon. So sit back and listen in. The whole purpose of writing this book is really to create connection, a connection with you and a connection to myself. Like you, I'm still a work in progress, and I share my journey and my story through hard things because I want you to know that you are not alone. We've all been through really hard things in our lives, especially these past few years, right? Our lives were so disrupted in so many ways, in ways that we probably never were thought possible. We had to reinvent ourselves, reinvent our businesses, and even our lives in many ways. We had to find new ways of doing things, and none of us were exempt from that. So I want you to know that you are not alone. If you've had financial difficulty or struggled through financial loss, well, me too. If you've experienced emotional difficulty or trauma or had a spouse that went through that as well, me too. If you wonder who you are now at this season of life, after raising your children or having that career and helping everyone else, me too. And if you wonder how to start again and how to reinvent yourself, welcome aboard. I've done that. I've been incredibly resilient, and I've been there. So the goal is to help empower you and to help you step forward with your life beyond these hard things, through life transitions and beyond the limiting beliefs that you may have about yourself. And I want to inspire you and help you find the courage to step forward with your life and your goals. And whatever those are for you, it's not too late. If I can write a book at 59, you can step forward and pursue your goals. And if I can overcome hard things, so can you. Writing this book was truly one of the hardest, scariest, and best things I've ever done. It's actually been a dream of mine. That's actually been one of my lifelong goals, and I finally had to admit that to myself, that I really wanted to write a book, and I really want to help others. I've always had this curiosity for humanity, for who people are, and I love hearing people's stories, where they've been and where they are now and what got them to the place that they are now. And that's why I do this podcast. So why was writing the book so hard? Well, I had to step beyond my own limiting beliefs, and I talk about that in the book. In order to step forward, we need to assess where we are and discover what holds us back. Then, as we transform and change, we must step beyond our limiting beliefs. There's no way around it if we want to move forward with our lives. We must change our mindset, and if I can do this, so can you. I love what Louise Hay says. She says, if you accept a limiting belief, then it will become a truth for you. And trust me, all those limiting beliefs that I've had in my life rose up in a very big way when I wrote my book. Now, I talk about these limiting beliefs and the battles we fight within ourselves, and I talk about this in the book. I use 10 different shoes, what I call the 10 shoes of life, as metaphors to talk about these difficult and wonderful parts of ourselves. I feel that metaphors help us understand really difficult concepts in a much easier way, and I talk about that in the book as well. But one of the shoes I talk about are the battle boots. There's a quote that says, the toughest battle you'll ever fight in your life is the battle within yourself. And how true that is for me. I go on to say that in order to step forward, we need to own the specific battles we fight in our minds. I had to start here because I felt I had stepped onto a battlefield when everything hit the fan in my life. Everything was exploding around me, causing the walls to fall down. Therefore, I had to put these boots on and wade through the rubble of my own emotions and limiting beliefs. Doubt, fear, worry, grief, guilt, shame, and not enough showed up in a very big way. I knew it was going to get really messy before it got better. I knew I had a battle ahead of me, and I needed tools to step over the debris. So I decided to buckle up and get ready, because some of these old patterns were familiar, and they were not going to let go easily. But it was time to let go of the things that kept me stuck. And I realized that everything had to start with my mindset. The only way through this mess was through it. I couldn't go around it, over it, or under it. I could not even hide from it. I had to find the courage to step through it. You see, I had spent too many years avoiding the pain and the mess by trying to go around it, taking detours, and always wishing I had taken another direction. And what I've learned throughout my life is that doesn't work. It only worsens the pain and prolongs the journey. I love what author Margie Worrell says. She says, growth and comfort can't ride the same horse. So saddle up. Let's ride through the muck. Are you ready? That's an excerpt from my book. And I hope it helps you realize that we all have these different limiting beliefs. And the only way we can step forward and step beyond them is by recognizing them and owning them and stop fighting them. I don't know if they ever go away, but we certainly can minimize the power that they have in our life. And the other thing I've had to learn is to celebrate my wins. Not beat myself up for where I've been, but actually celebrate it, because all of it, the entire journey of my life has made me who I am. And I talk about the gap and the gain that Dan Sullivan from The Strategic Coach talks about. And it's that space in between of where you've been and where you're headed, and how important it is to look back so that you can celebrate how far you've come. And I had a very pivotal moment in my life because my coach, Melanie Clark, also had me do that. She had me pause and really look back in certain areas of my life and celebrate how far I had come and celebrate who I am today. And so if you're struggling with that, I just encourage you to take a moment and pause and celebrate where you are now, because the entire journey of your life has brought you to this very place. And I think you're pretty amazing. In fact, I know you're amazing, and I know you've done amazing things. Okay, so back to the book Step Forward. It's not a traditional book. I'm not really a traditional person. I kind of think outside the box, and I've had to own that in my life in many different ways. And this book is not intended to be a sprint. It's a marathon, and you don't have to read it from cover to cover in kind of a chronological order. You can pick it up and kind of read through it as you need. There are certainly stories that are woven in, these different metaphors that I share, but then there are also exercises and opportunities for you to go inward and do some of your own self-discovery work, which is the whole point. The whole point of the book is for you to take this journey into yourself and rediscover who you are, who you really are now. I look back over these last few years and all these difficult things I've been through. I've really taken some time to immerse myself in this whole personal growth and self-development space. I've listened to a lot of coaching from Brendon Burchard, Dean Graziosi, Mel Robbins, Jenna Kutcher, all those people that we know, and really kind of dialed into that along with my own coach, Melanie Clark. And I've realized not only have I wanted to write, but I've also always been really curious about human development, personal growth, and this is probably something I've always wanted to do. And so if you're like me, you take all that you are, your entire journey, all your experiences, the good, the bad, the difficult, and it all brings you to the place you are today. And I just want to encourage you to be open to that. So what have I learned? I've learned 4 things. Number 1, to trust myself and to trust my voice. Honestly, my entire life, I've had incredible doubt. I've doubted myself and I share this in the book, but I've had Debbie Dowder, I've given her a name. She sat right here on my shoulder and always would tell me, oh, you don't know that answer. No, that's not right. I know you think that's right, but somebody else is smarter than you. And I've had to work on that my whole life, and I had to work on it really hard when I was writing my book. You see, I was really excited. I found an editor early on, someone who seemed very qualified, and I sent him my book, and he ripped it to shreds. And it took me down, honestly, for about a month. I had to sit on it for a few days to his response. And then I had to take responsibility for my life and my book. I realized that he was never on board for me. He just wanted to make money, and he wanted to be a ghostwriter and rewrite my entire book. He was never in the project to walk beside me and help me accomplish my goal. And he was actually really critical. And I've always had a really strong inner critic and had other critical people in my life. And so that was something I had to tame early on. And that was just a lesson for me. And I was so proud of myself for standing up for myself. The second thing I've learned is that you'll make mistakes. I made mistakes. Anytime we're starting something new and putting ourselves out there, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. We're going to get things wrong. And guess what? We can celebrate that. Celebrate that you're trying something new. You're putting yourself out there. You're taking a risk. And for those of us that are recovering perfectionists, this is really hard. But I'm learning to be perfectly imperfect. The third thing I've learned is there's this thing called edit. Even on the computer, we have this thing called the flashing cursor. I talk about this, the power of it and the symbolism of it in my book. And we can edit, delete, backspace, and redo anytime we need to, just like life. We are given new beginnings each day, and we can try new things. We can never create a new beginning, but we can certainly go back and create a new ending for ourselves. We have that power to do that. And with books, self-publishing today, it allows you to go back and correct your mistakes. And I was told early on, even when you have an editor, you're still going to make mistakes. But Amazon self-publishing makes it so easy now to correct it and upload a new version. Awesome. The fourth thing I've learned is the power of telling my story. I've had to step outside some of the shame that I've felt and carried around in my life that has kept me small. Being embarrassed that I didn't complete my college education, or the embarrassment of having that bulimia all those years, the stress and struggle of our financial failure after having such incredible success. And now I celebrate all that is, and that has been so healing. Writing this book has taken me through a whole other experience in healing and realizing that I can take my mess and I can turn it into a masterpiece and share my story and help someone else out in the world. And I hope that's you. I hope I have touched your heart and soul and spirit and made a difference in your life and let you know that you're not alone. Because I have a tagline for Hello Redlow, and it is, you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, and you belong. And if you know any of those things, if you feel that through my voice and just having that connection, then I celebrate that. I've done something right today. So go buy this book. Write in it, draw in it, color in it, hold it close to your heart, and take your journey and rediscover who you are. I want you to see how amazing you are. One of the things I share in the book as well is that there are 8 billion people in the world, but there's only one you. And I want you to know how amazing you are. All those gifts and talents that God has given you are deep inside. And I want you to step forward with your life and shine your light out into the world. Make your life a masterpiece. Now go have an amazing day. Until we meet again, may God truly bless you. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope this episode really blessed your heart and soul. You can get my book, Step Forward, on Amazon by going to the Hello Redlow Instagram page. Click on the link there. It'll take you right to the Amazon website and you can purchase it there. The book will just give you a little bit more insight to some of the things we've talked about here today and also help you take your journey through personal self-discovery. And I'd love to hear from you. Leave a message here. Tell me your story. Tell me some of the hard things that you've been through and overcome in your life. I'd love to have you on the podcast if you're interested. And be sure to follow along on the Hello Redlow Instagram and the Facebook page. And then here as well on the podcast, I will read a few of the chapters, what I call the steps. I'll read those here on the podcast with my voice telling my story. Go have an amazing day, and let's step forward together.